the World Report on NewsX World. Let's start with a check of the top headlines this hour. Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, holds its first ever direct election in over 5 decades. More than 50,000 voters cast ballots. The national polls are expected in 2026. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that he has planned to meet the US President Donald Trump on Sunday to discuss territory and security issues amid the negotiations on Russia-Ukraine truce. Five people have been killed in an explosion at Al Alawite Mosque in the Syrian city of Homs. As per the Syrian Health Ministry, 21 people have been wounded in the explosion. A Palestinian assailant reportedly ran over a man and stabbed a woman, killing them both in northern Israel. The assailant was shot and wounded by a civilian at the scene and was later taken to the hospital. Yemen's main southern separatist group has rejected a Saudi call for its forces to withdraw from areas it seized earlier in December, saying it will continue securing the eastern provinces of Hadramaut and Mahara. India has raised alarm over rising attacks on minorities on Bangladesh, citing nearly 2,900 incidents against Hindus and others. Concerns grew after a Hindu man was killed by a mob. Bangladesh has condemned the act and made arrests. The United States says it carried out a strike against Islamic State militants in northwest Nigeria at the request of the Nigerian government. President Trump and US military say the group is accused of targeting Christians in the region. Japan's government approves a record $785 billion budget as Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi seeks to balance active spending with debt concerns. The administration says that it aims to reassure investors amid rising bond yields and a weak yen by limiting new borrowing. Alright, and let's start with the top story. Thailand's Prime Minister says he hopes a ceasefire with Cambodia can be reached even as fighting along the border areas intensifies. Bangkok says its defense minister will meet with his Cambodian counterpart on Friday as talks enter a fourth day aimed at ending deadly clashes. Thailand says any deal would follow earlier commitments to clear mines, pull back heavy weapons and allow ceasefire monitors. Cambodia, however, accuses Thai forces of stepping up bombardment in disputed areas, including alleged airstrikes. Thai media report Cambodian shelling overnight. The renewed conflict has killed dozens of people and displaced around 1 million. Both sides deny targeting civilians. The US, China and Malaysia are again pushing for calm as the dispute over the colonial-era border drags on. Joining me now in this discussion is Satoru Nagao, who is a fellow at the Hudson Institute of Tokyo. Thank you very much, Mr. Nagao, for joining me once again at NewsX World. Mr. Nagao, Thailand hopes for a ceasefire after having bombarded the border areas that are in Cambodia. How is the ceasefire going to be established when the party calling for peace is a party that's constantly striking the other?
Indeed, the view from the military power, Thailand is strong and Cambodia is weak. Thailand has the Air Force, Thailand has the Navy, and Thailand has, of course, Army, but Cambodia has only Army. So in this case, Thailand can decide the ceasefire or not, because anytime Thailand can bomb, but Cambodia cannot bomb. But despite such kind of situation, and despite the ceasefire has happened in July to October, the Cambodia side provoked Thailand by setting up land mines is Thailand's perception. So that's why Thailand start punish Cambodia recently. And so if the Thailand start to say they hope the ceasefire, this means that this punishment has already finished level because Thailand satisfies this punishment. So that's why there's a real possibility the ceasefire will come. But in this case, the matter is the attitude of China. Why the first ceasefire agreement has broken in the beginning, and from July to October it has happened, but restart war after that. Why? Because there's a possibility China hasn't satisfied the situation. And because in July, both US and China joined the negotiation to seek the ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand.
I don't want any noise. I don't want any noise.
October, when to President Trump arranged the ceasefire, that time China's ambassador cannot join. So that's why that time China want to complain. So that's why the Cambodia, China and ally with the Cambodia. And Cambodia start provoke Thailand and restart war has happened. So there's a possibility China want to complain is the reason of the restarting conflict. So in this case, this time under the ceasefire negotiation, both U.S. and China joined this negotiation. So that's why there is a possibility China also satisfies the situation, and all of the U.S., China, and Thailand and Cambodia. And if we add the ASEAN, all of these satisfy the situation. In this case, there is a possibility the real ceasefire will come.
All right, and Mr. Nagao, while there are possibilities of emerging at a ceasefire, as the sides are indicating for that, how do you think that the larger question of the border be resolved? Because that's a long-running issue.
Border issue itself, it is not easy to solve because Cambodia has already asked the international court, and the international court verdict is Cambodia is right and Thailand need to withdraw. But view from Thailand, despite they withdraw the troops from the disputed area, Thailand side want to continue their claim. So that's why the situation itself, problem itself will continue. But why it has broken out recently is related with UNESCO's admitted the temple in this place is Cambodia's temple and heritage of the Cambodia, and Thailand want to complain. And so that's why in this case, Thailand and Cambodia should solve these issues through dialogue. So military conflict is one thing, but this territorial dispute is another thing. Anyway, they need to start a dialogue to solve this, I think.
All right. Thanks for your opinion, Mr. Nagao, but do continue to stay on with us. Viewers, we move ahead. Fresh clashes have erupted near Uvira in the Democratic Republic of Congo's east between the M23 group and pro-government militia. The Rwanda-backed M23 militia had seized the strategic city near the border with Burundi earlier this month, shortly after the Congolese and Rwandan governments signed a peace deal in Washington that US President Donald Trump hailed as a great miracle. After the US accused Rwanda of violating the peace agreement it signed with its neighbor in early December, M23 said it would withdraw from Uvira. Although according to local and security forces, plainclothes M23 members have stayed behind in the city. As per reports, clashes between M23 and pro-government forces erupted earlier in this week near Uvira when the Rwandan-backed militant and pro-Kinshasa militia called Wazalendo traded gunfire. I request Ayanuga Olugbenga Paul to join me in this discussion here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
All right. Thank you for having me. What I see, in my own opinion, about this M23 rebel taking new grounds all the time, despite the resolutions and peace accords that have been signed recently, is that it seems that the government in Kinshasa itself is not so popular with the people on ground because, you know, I see similarities between this M23 rebel scenario and the Chiang Kai-shek versus the Mao Zedong scenario in the 1937 to 1949 China, where, yes, the legitimate government as at that time was the Chiang Kai-shek-led government in China, but the Mao Zedong were just seen as a rebel group, like the M23 rebel are seen right now. But eventually they became more popular with the people. They became, people felt better with them, such that even armies from the Chiang Kai-shek army were joining the Mao Zedong army, and that made the empire fall, that led to the Chiang Kai-shek running to Taiwan for safety at the end of the day. And this is what I see playing out in my own view of the whole scenario. I might be wrong. I'm not saying that I am 100%, but you see, history has a way of repeating itself. And people in government, if they don't go back to history to understand how certain history played out, they are making the same history, the same mistakes some people have made in the past. And because they don't understand history, they didn't understood how that story ended in those times, and so they are making the same mistake, repeating it all over again. And I think that until the Kinshasa government, warm itself to the heart of the people that your protection, your safety is better with me rather than the M23 rebel, because what it seems with all this success that M23 rebel is recording recently is not about the support that they are getting from Rwanda, if there is any, truly, because Rwanda has constantly denied ever supporting the M23 rebel. But let's even assume they are getting support from the Rwandan government. It is not enough for them to have this sweeping victory that they have been having over recent time, if not for the fact that people on ground, locals in many of those places, are collaborators, and they are not pleased with the government in Kinshasa, the capital. They are rather looking for autonomy. That is why M23 rebel is recording this sweeping success that we have seen.
All right, sure. Thanks for your opinion for now, Mr. Paul, but do continue to stay on with us as I speak your opinion going ahead. Viewers, let's also tell you that in Somalia, at capital Mogadishu, more than 500,000 voters went to the polls. They are electing local council members in the country's first direct election in decades. The vote is seen as a key step toward national elections planned for 2026. Over 1,600 candidates from 20 political parties are contesting 390 seats across 16 districts. President Sheikh Mohamed called it a milestone for the capital's governance and security. Voters described the election as a chance to finally have a voice after decades. And I request Mr. Paul to join me back in the discussion here. Mr. Paul, what's your analysis of the polls in Mogadishu? Do you think it can be held in a secure and a safe environment?
Well, while the security and safeness of it is not guaranteed, but it's a step in the right direction. In fact, it's a news that warmed my heart, and I felt really happy that after 5 decades hiatus, they are thinking of going back to the poll to get democratically elected government to lead them in that country. And if this is successful, and thank God that they are starting with the local elections, if it is not manipulated from the top, and they allow, Mogadishu allows the popular candidates in each locality to emerge as the representative of the people, they have a high chance of bringing peace back to many villages, and of course getting people properly represented in the cabinet that will be formed. Now, the challenge that I think lies ahead is that the quality of people that are going to represent each locality, because years of violence, displacement, and challenges that they have faced has radicalized some people. And so somebody might be popular, may not necessarily mean he is good for the people. So for areas where radical religious leaders are representing, will they be able to see things with a broader view, rather than just myopic religious view of the issue? And that is the only fear. But when we get that river, I think they will be able to cross it. The first one is for them to be able to have this election successfully. The safety and guarantee is nobody can actually say 100%. But if popular candidates from each localities are allowed to emerge, some of them are going to learn on the job, but on the long run, they will get it right, and maybe, just maybe, Somalia will begin to take its place in the Committee of Nations because of the return of peace and stability in the region.
Sure. We hope so too. Thanks very much once again, Dr. Paul, Mr. Paul, for joining me in this discussion here. And moving ahead, viewers, let's give you some news on China, which has strongly opposed what it calls Japan's dangerous moves in the cyber field, warning that any action undermining China's sovereignty and security will draw a firm response. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said Japan's new cybersecurity strategy marks a major shift from defense to offense. According to reports, Japan's cabinet has adopted a new cybersecurity strategy, letting police and self-defense forces take proactive countermeasures. In May, the country passed the Active Cyber Defense Law, allowing preemptive action against alleged cyber attackers. Lin said China has grave concerns, accusing Japan of loosening restrictions on cyber operations under the guise of defense. He urged Japan to abide by its pacifist constitution, respect international rules, and help safeguard peace and stability in cyberspace. Let's listen in.
日本内阁明确授权所谓网络主动反击举措，这是日本从网络防御转向网络进攻的重大政策转向，也是日本作为二战战败国，企图突破战后国际秩序的又一例证。中方对此表示严重关切，中方坚决反对日本在网络领域的危险举动，强烈敦促日本以实际行动恪守和平宪法，遵守现有国际规则和秩序。如日方任何的不当举措损及中方的主权、安全与发展利益，必将遭到中方的严。
All right, I request Mr. Nagao to join me back in the discussion here with his comments. Mr. Nagao, what's your view of the Chinese comment on Japan's moves as far as cybersecurity is concerned, and especially the statement of it being more offensive than defensive now?
Yeah, this logic is quite too funny. Because China increased cyber attack against Japan, Japan need to deal with it, and this is the answer. And in case of Japan's active defense, it's searching the potential to attack Japan. If Japan identify before they attack, Japan try to eliminate this threat. But in this active defense, Japan will not destroy the machine or other things, just eliminate something to prepare to attack. So that's why this is still quite defensive, but active defense, but quite defensive one. So that's why if China does not commit to attack Japan, there is no problem. Because China is really planning to commit to attack Japan, that is a problem. So China need to criticize Japan. So this is completely strange. If China, so China is the reason Japan need to deal with. And if China does not plan to attack again, this Japan's response is not a problem. So, but because China is planning to attack and committing to attack just now, so that's why China criticized Japan. So this is quite strange, too funny, the China's logic is, I think.
Right, and do you think China's response to Japan increasing its defense budget is also equally funny?
China's increasing defense budget is a big matter because 6 times bigger than Japan. So if China criticized Japan, this is also too funny, of course, because they spend 6 times bigger the military expenditure than Japan. And the China say 1/6 defense budget of Japan is a threat against China. Is this I do not think so. Because China spends 6 times bigger military expansion. That is threat against Japan, and Japan try to increase some more. But this is starting from 1/6 of China. So that's why this is not threat against China. If China criticize Japan, China should criticize their own defense budget first. That is the situation. So very funny, I think.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nagao, for your comments there. And moving ahead, viewers, the UAE President Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan arrived in Islamabad on his first official visit to Pakistan at the invitation of Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, as per the statements from the Prime Minister's office and the Foreign Ministry. In his initial visit, Mohammed bin Zayed, who is also the ruler of Abu Dhabi, was accompanied by a delegation of ministers and senior officials, the statements added. He was received at Noor Khan Air Base by Shehbaz Sharif, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, and Chief of Army Staff Field Marshal Saeed Asim Munir. He was given a 21-gun salute. Furthermore, the national anthems of Pakistan and the UAE were played. According to statements, he was also presented with a guard of honor at a welcoming ceremony at the airbase. Mohammed bin Zayed is due to meet Sharif during the visit to review bilateral ties and discuss regional and international issues of mutual interest, as per the Foreign Office. And that's all we have time for. Keep watching NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.